Congressman Steve King went on CNN where he came up with a genius idea to pay for Trump's border wall. Let's watch.
I'd like to say to America, a wall is not a fence, it's not a virtual, it's not a balloon in the air, it's not a drone. It's a wall. It's a concrete wall, and it's 2,000 miles of concrete wall.
And it's $1.6 billion. I mean, that's what might be holding up, the funding for the government. But are you comfortable, Congressman, with providing $1.6 billion of taxpayer money, not from Mexico, to build that wall?
Absolutely, yes, and more. And I'd throw another $5 billion on the pile, and I would find $500 million of that right out of Planned Parenthood's budget. And the rest of it could come out of food stamps and the entitlements that are being spread out for people that haven't worked in 3 generations. We've got to put America back to work. This administration will do it, and we've got to free them up so that they can and support the right agenda for this country.
You want to take food from people who are the people who are on the lowest rung in terms of the nation's safety net, and their children, in terms of food stamps. You're willing to take money from them to build the 1.6 or to give the 1.6 billion for the border wall?
For a couple of reasons. One of them would be that we will create the kind of security that would bring about 10 million new jobs in America just by enforcing immigration law. Second thing is, I wouldn't impose anything any more strict on anybody in America than what Michelle Obama did with her school lunch program. And so I would just say, let's limit it to that. Anybody that wants to have food stamps up to the school lunch program, that's fine. And but we have seen this go from 19 million people on now SNAP program up to 47 million people on the SNAP program.
And you don't think all of them need it?
Oh, I'm sure that all of them didn't need it.
There's something about Steve King that I like because he's so stupid and so out there that, it's interesting to watch somebody who wears it on his sleeve and is just unapologetic about it. So where do I begin with that one? First of all, yeah, there's been an increase of people on food stamps. They're using a measurement from before the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession and after the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. So, in other words, the Republicans did massive, gargantuan tax cuts for the rich and further deregulation of Wall Street. The economy crashed, and then when people who lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods, needed food, they go, "Oh, how dare you? What's wrong with you? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps." So you put in place policies that absolutely crashed the economy. Millions of people lost their jobs. They have to turn to food stamps to feed their kids. And you go, look at you, fucking moocher, parasite. Like, these guys act like everybody who's poor, it's like they wake up in the morning and they're like, all right, how can we scam the system today? Woo, I love this. Let's never work again. Let's never even try to get a job. Let's just leech off everybody else. They act like poverty is a choice, that everybody who's poor is sitting back and making that decision, and also that poor people are living high on the hog, and they're like, they have it really well. Like, in their mind, the rich are the oppressed, and the poor people are the oppressors. That's how Steve King thinks. Okay, so then he talks about how, well, the border wall is going to cost $1.6 billion. I thought you were fiscal conservative. You're just going to spend $1.6 billion on a wall? And he's like, yeah, not only would I do that, I'd add another $5 billion to boot. Oh, I see. So fiscal conservatism, yet again, Steve King is piece of evidence number 9,762. Fiscal conservatism only applies to programs that would help regular people. They never care about, oh my God, the debt, the deficit, when it comes to, priorities that are for giant corporations, when it comes to the military-industrial complex, when it comes to Wall Street, when it comes to enforcing a dumbass immigration policy. Blank check. Blank check in those areas. In areas that I prefer, big government all day long. In areas that I don't, small government. Okay, then just stop pretending that one of your key priorities is fiscal responsibility and being a deficit hawk and prioritizing pinching pennies, because that's not the case. If you are, in favor of a certain policy position, you say, fuck it, blank check. Then he says, well, yeah, in order to fund it, we'd cut Planned Parenthood and food stamps. These guys, they love to have it both ways, because they'll say, Steve King will go on and on about how abortion is wrong and evil and you can't do it and it should be outlawed and it should be banned. And then you say to him, okay, so obviously you want to increase funding for free clinics, Planned Parenthood, contraception, the pill, condoms, sex education, right? And he goes, no, I don't want to do that. Well, you have to do one or the other. You want to decrease the abortion rate? You have to fund those things. He goes, no, I want to not fund those things and somehow decrease the abortion rate also. Well, then you're a fucking moron, because that's not going to happen. You're not living in the real world. You actually can decrease the abortion rate if you fund Planned Parenthood, all of the free clinics, condoms, contraception, sex education, but they want to have their cake and eat it too. No, we don't want to do that, but I also want to cut the abortion rate. And then for the food stamps point, Steve King loves to think of himself as a Christian. Like, yep, I'm a good Christian. I like to follow Jesus' example. Anyway, can we take food out of the mouths of poor kids to fund a border wall to prevent brown people from coming in here? Look, man, you want to have that opinion? Okay. But why do you have to fucking pretend in the next breath that you're Mr. Uber Christianity and Western civilization is great? And anyway, let's not let any brown people in, and let's, take food out of the mouth of hungry kids. They find a way to spin it, of course. And there's enough shitty stuff in the Bible where they have backing for their, far-right view of the world and treating the poor like shit. And then the final point is, the Michelle Obama thing. Steve King is one of those, those dolls where you pull it and it says something? It has like 3 phrases or whatever. That's Steve King. Michelle Obama's school lunch program, he just brings that up out of nowhere because these guys get mad over the most ridiculous shit. I'm still mad at Michelle Obama's school lunch program. Disgusting. She wanted kids to, eat healthy. Bitch. What the fuck? How are you bringing that up? What the fuck does that have to do with everything else that you're talking about? I have no idea. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Steve King would love to fund that border wall with money that's supposed to go for food for hungry people and Planned Parenthood.